So the big headphones are out, which can only mean one thing. We're getting serious. I did look for some bigger ones. I couldn't find them, but it means I can hear crystal clear. So I'm on the call here today with Mike. I'm going to interview Mike. He's a client of mine that's been doing some amazing things in his business. He's a fellow network marketer like yourself. And I just love to bring other people out onto my channel so that you're able to say, you know what, I can take inspiration from someone who's getting great results, learn a bit about how they've got results so you can start to put those same tactics into your business as well. So how's things going with you, Mike? Are you well?
Yeah, doing absolutely great this side, Richard. Thank you very much for having me today.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm really looking forward to this. Mike's been concentrating his efforts around YouTube, also around his personal habits, his environment. He's made some significant changes since we've been working together, and I know you'll get a lot of value from this. So before we kind of get into that, just let us know, Mike. I'm always interested to know, and I think it's useful for people to know too. Where did you first learn about network marketing? Where was the first time you kind of jumped in and said yes and got started?
Sure. Well, just to give you a little bit about my background, I'm from the UK originally. I'm living up here in Scotland at the moment, which is absolutely beautiful. But for the last 9 years, so since 2011, I've actually lived in Southeast Asia. I moved there in 2011 after leaving university and jumping from dead-end job to dead-end job, never really finding anything that I wanted to do in the UK. I jumped on a plane and moved to Thailand to become an English teacher in 2011. And, you know, guy from Newcastle, first time outside of Europe, it was absolute paradise at first. You know, I was working in a fairly low responsibility English teaching role. All right. So I was earning like $1,000 a month, but
that's a lot over there though, isn't it?
Well, I was living in the south of Thailand. I had myself this amazing motorbike. You know, I was going on holidays to beaches with white sands and, you know, blue seas. And I'd never seen anything like that before. And I knew that I wanted to live in Thailand, but the work itself, it drains me. You know, I'd never wanted to be a teacher. I'd never dreamt of standing in front of a classroom with kids. And I was actually teaching music because that's where my background is. And I was teaching kids to sing Old MacDonald. And, you know, I was doing larger things as well, teaching, you know, kids to do Jungle Book productions and putting on school plays and school performances. And to begin with, when I was in teaching English, the responsibility was low. But when I started to teach music, I was getting a lot of extra work piled on my plate, but no extra money for that work, basically.
So trouble in paradise then.
Totally. And after a couple of years of working in this school as music teacher, they were just giving me extra stuff, write these reports, meet these parents, but my pay level was staying the same. And that was when I realized that I had to do something about it. So I tried a few different things. I tried Amazon. I tried selling Muay Thai shorts on eBay. I bought Muay Thai shorts for cheap in Phuket and sold them internationally. Okay. Like half of my apartment was stacked full of boxers. Yeah, I tried a few different methods, lost a bit of money, but I learned a lot over that journey of a couple of years, you know. And then in March 2018, I discovered network marketing. Little bit skeptical as first, you know, as Northern British guys tend to be. But I dug a little bit deeper. I looked under the surface, really saw the other people who were doing it, you know, really related to them. They didn't seem any different to me. And I decided to get my business up and running in March 2018. And yeah, from then, I've never really looked back.
That's cool. That's a lot. That's a lot of information that people can take value from, because, you know, the sense that if you're an ambitious person, you kind of settle into, if you have that spark, that flare, even though you're in this beautiful environment, if you don't have that sense of fulfillment, you're always going to have to scratch that itch. I've realized that about myself over the years, that every goal and level of income and level of standard of living that you reach, at the end of the day, you always get that point in time where you've got used to it. You sit down, you go, is this enough? Am I really happy? What can I do next? So obviously you have that mentality, which is what brought you to our industry. And other people should look for those type of signs in the people that they know and when they're prospecting. And then also as well, you know, the fact that it's the people that really matter. I'm always talking about personal branding, positioning as being very important. And, you know, what helped Mike get over perhaps some skepticism or negativity about the industry, it was swept aside when the people are right and seem trustworthy and can show rapport and results. So, you know, that's obviously what worked for Mike. That's what can work for you too. If you're trying to always point to the company and not yourself, it will get you 80% of the way there. But in order for people to say, you know what, I'll join you, you've got to show some personal value. And proof is in the pudding here. I've spoken to so many people said the same thing as Mike, and I was the same as well. So you're into network marketing now. You've started, you're excited, as we all see the charts on the board, right? We're like, yep, I'm going to be a millionaire the next month and all the rest of it, as we all do. How was your start? What happened after you got started?
So yeah, I got started in, like I said, the March of 2018. And I had that feeling, I don't want other people to know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was a bit shy. People around me in my sort of friendship circles had never really done anything like this, you know. And my friends who I did tell, they were like, well, mate, you're earning a couple of grand a month living on an island in paradise. Like, what are you doing? And they didn't really understand it to begin with. And that kind of made me withdraw from going all in, if you will. Mm-hmm. You know, so for the first couple of months, I really focused on learning. And I just immersed myself in content, in learning how to put together copy, in learning what sort of photos would do well on social media, and learning, you know, the skills that I would need to build funnels and to build this business online. And then around about 2 months of being into the business, I actually I'd never met anybody else who was running the business. It was just me doing my teaching, coming home and like on the computer, getting on calls. Yeah. And then after a couple of months, a couple of people were coming to Phuket, all right, where I was living. And these people had been in the business for longer than me. They were seeing some success, and they agreed to meet up with me. So I sat with these guys, had dinner with these guys, and
pulled upon the fancy moped.
Well, almost, yeah. A PX125, actually, I'll have you know.
Wow.
High performance scooter, but more about that later. But anyway, I'm sitting with these other two team members, these two distributors. And that night, I still remember it, sitting on a beach, having a couple of beers with these guys who'd been in the business for a couple of years. And that's when the penny dropped for me, you know, that this wasn't just going to be something that I did for a couple of months or something that I dabbled in. This was going to be something that was going to be a lifelong career. And, you know, just the sort of how sure these guys were and what they were saying and what they were projecting for the future, it kind of cemented in me the decision that I'd already made. I'd invested in the business, but I still had this tiny little bit of doubt in the back of my mind. And sitting with those two guys, having dinner, having beer, the conversations we had, it was like, right, you're all in, you know.
That's an excellent story. Yeah.
Literally 1 week after that, I got my first new team member. And then from that moment on, I've consistently made sales. Like not a month has gone by when I haven't brought in somebody new. And it's, you know, it's gone from strength to strength. And I was actually able to leave my teaching job 6 months after I started my network marketing business. What also happened around that time was I was learning the skills that I needed to build sales funnels, like I told you earlier. And lots of people were seeing that it wasn't just hot air that I was blowing, you know, I was actually matching that with a skill set of building funnels and social media marketing. So a friend of mine who had a property company in Phuket approached me as well. And I was running my network marketing business, building that. And my friend came to me and said, listen, mate, I need some help with my property business. You do this internet marketing, don't you? And my initial thought was, well, let's see if he's into network marketing. And he clearly wasn't. He clearly wasn't it for that. So we started chatting about how I could help him promote his property business. And before I knew it, I was selling real estate to foreigners in Thailand, taking a 1% fee off all of the online marketing side of things. And yeah, I'd made £500,000 worth of sales of real estate in a 12-month period. So the property company were fairly happy with me then. So I sort of transitioned from teaching into network marketing, into property. And then after about 12 months of juggling them both, juggling the real estate and the network marketing, I decided that I wanted my business. This property was great. The money was fantastic. It was kind of glamorous as well, if I'm honest, selling like luxury villas in Thailand, but I wanted to build my business and my team was growing. So I went to support them full time and started growing my network marketing business full time. And that was in May 2019, actually, when that happened. And I transitioned.
Just over a year after the initial start. And there's a lot in that. There's a lot in that section there. It's I had a very similar experience that when I joined network marketing, I owned a couple of health clubs and they weren't doing very well. People didn't really know that at that time. I trusted the wrong people. When I shake hands with somebody, that's a contract. I was naive. I don't make excuses. I don't accept them. I chose to trust some people with a handshake. It didn't mean anything to them like it did to me. I got screwed over, lost a bunch of money, and I knew I needed a way out. I knew I needed an exit. So I got into network marketing, but of course, everyone's like, well, Richard, you own these gyms. Why are you trying to sell me some vitamins? Like, why are you even trying to do that? It doesn't make sense, So I would try and play it off. It's just a bit of fun. I couldn't try and say, I have 50 grand in debt. I need this. You know what I mean? I didn't want to admit that. And like you say, something that makes a huge difference is even with the same tactics, if someone gets around the right people, whether it's a coach, whether it's a company, whatever it may be, if they get around the right environment and that lifts them up and now they take the same tactics, but they have belief and enthusiasm and confidence, the most confident person wins. So when you're in a conversation with a prospect, if that prospect is confident in their doubt, but you are more confident in the strategy you've got and you're more confident in the progress and opportunity and the possibility, then you will win. And often you'll notice when I think how hard it is to say no to someone who's super enthusiastic and so confident. You usually don't even bother. Oh, they're so into this. What's even the point, right? And this is why a lot of people, it's not uncommon to have this experience where at the beginning, everyone's trying to shoot holes in what you're doing, poke holes in you. They can smell the indecision coming off of you. So they try and fight to feel better about their choice because they can see a vulnerability in yours. Once you find a way to get that confidence, all those type of objections stop because it only takes one look. It's just a pyramid and you look and you're as if to say, you're talking to me about that for? And they're like, oh, no, actually, they kind of backpedal, right? And then the same with your business. Network marketing, it provides options. It's a great gateway to say, you know what? If I do want to do this as one of my income streams, I will learn so much about myself and other skills I can apply in other areas, lead generation, recruiting, sales, presentations, time management, list goes on. But then also you can make that choice and say, well, you know what, I choose to focus on that and make that a full-time income. Very similar in that respect. I built a couple of really big teams, used those skills. I actually sold a bunch of properties for a friend of mine who needed help. Very similar. He was like, I bought a bunch of land, built some properties, can't sell them, sold all those properties for him. And then I realized, like yourself, you know what? I don't mind helping doing favors for a couple of friends, but I really want to drive this into my own brand, my own growth, and my own business. So then you probably experience the valley of death, right? This is what usually comes next. It's the same story, right? But different people, different circumstances is always interesting. So you've got to a point where you're making regular sales, life is good. Usually something comes along that takes us down. Was that the same with you?
Well, you as usual, Richard, you're reading the situation fairly well. And yeah, you hit the nail on the head. So May 2019, business is flying. I'm traveling around the world. Remember those days when you used to be able to board planes and things like that?
Yeah, I do.
So 2019, we're having lots of big team events around the world. I'm speaking on stage in San Diego and in London, and it's, making sales it's just flowing. It's flowing, and I'm hitting leaderboards, the EU leaderboards, and everything is. It's like they said on the tin. It was really, really working well. And then in June 2020, when everything was going smoothly, I was living on a beach in Thailand in this beautiful beach house, 180-degree, beautiful panoramic view. and I got bitten by a mosquito, and I got something called dengue fever. All right, it's a tropical disease, not particularly pleasant. Put me into hospital for 5 or 6 days. Now, this business, network marketing, so wonderful that I was actually in hospital, like chatting with people, processing sales while in my hospital bed. So everything was great. And then in July, I decided to come home. All right. I hadn't been well. It was
just before you continue, I've just got a vision of you with one of those backless dressing gowns on with your backside hanging out. Let me tell you about this business. You know, I see you wandering around. That's a professional, right? That's a professional.
Hey, I was even trying to pitch the nurses, mate. You should have seen it. It was. But my tie's pretty rusty. My tie's pretty rusty. But anyway, yeah.
You came home.
June 2020, everything's going great. Get hit down with dengue fever. July 2020, it's kind of like that, the height of the pandemic. Yeah, things. If you remember, if you turn the clock back then, things were seeming pretty serious then. I was 10,000 miles across the globe, and my parents were here in the UK, and I wanted to be with them. You know what I mean? I wanted to make sure they're not getting any younger. I wanted to make sure they were okay. And my folks, they wanted to see me as well. So I jumped on a plane. I came back to the UK, and yeah, pretty much for the first 8 to 10 months of being back in the UK, I hit, like you say, the valley of death. Let me give you a little brief synopsis of what happened. I hit
what caused that? Obviously, if you're feeling better, what do you think caused it?
So I got back to the UK in July. In August, I started experiencing some issues with my Facebook business manager. So for anyone who's running paid ads or, using Facebook Business Manager, you'll know that it can be a risky business. If you aren't, it can bring in great results. I totally recommend using paid ads, but at the same time, I was very reliant on them. I wasn't using any other channel to generate leads. I wasn't using YouTube. I wasn't using Google. I was only using paid ad strategies. And in August, my ads manager got shut down, and it hit me hard. It hit me very, very hard. My direct sales were hit. I wasn't able to run ads. My mindset went down. I thought, man, I'm not in Thailand. I was starting to compare my life from a month ago when I was making sales, living on a beach. I had some internal issues within my team, which, a few months ago, I might have jumped over like that. But with everything sort of compounding together, my mindset really started to spiral down, and it was my first winter in the UK. Okay, I couldn't travel back to Thailand due to restrictions. My first UK winter in effectively 10 years. I'd visited the UK for a couple of weeks, but I'd always gone back to Thailand. And the realization set in that, right, you're in the UK for the foreseeable future, mate. Get used to it.
And you're around those people that didn't understand in the first place, right? That environment of old friends that just kind of sneered at you, I guess. And I guess you're back home now, kind of thing.
I'm living back in Newcastle. I'm surrounded by all the friends that I was surrounded with 10 years ago. Love them to bits, absolutely wonderful people. But my identity 10 years ago wasn't a network marketer who absolutely crushes his business online. It was very, very different. I'm not going to go into what I was like 10 years ago, but it was very different to the way that I am now, put it that way. And surrounding myself with those friends, they kind of
want to push you back in that mold, don't they,
Totally. I reassumed that whole identity. Like, I don't talk about my business around those guys. It's kind of like walking on eggshells. And that sort of surroundings, it's not congruent to success, is it? It's not going to help me grow as a person. And for 10 months in Newcastle, I really, really struggled. I kept going. I kept doing the daily steps. My business kept moving. My team kept growing. But I just wasn't stepping into my power. I wasn't being bold. I wasn't leading. So I knew that I had to do something about it. And 4 weeks ago, I started really working closely with Richard, actually. I removed myself from Newcastle. All right. I've rented a beautiful apartment up here in Scotland. So that's where I'm staying now. It's away from my old friends. I started working with Richard, like I say, 4 weeks ago, started getting into the YouTube side of things, and my mindset has completely shifted. I'm back to where I was when I was in Thailand. I'm getting up at 6 a.m. I'm exercising. I'm drinking water. I'm reading the right kinds of books. I'm eating the right kinds of food. All of these things that I wasn't doing 2 months ago, and I was asking myself, "Oh, why are you not getting the right sort of results, Mike?" Because you're not doing the right sort of things. But when you're in that sort of negative spiral,
You
it can
can't
be
see it, can you?
it can be
You
difficult to
you
pull
can't see
yourself
it.
out. And sometimes you need somebody to actually pull you out of that. And Richard, you've done that for me. So yeah, grateful
Well, I'm
for you.
glad to have been of assistance. And yeah, I mean, your business is like this now. I've seen recently, and there's so much more room to go. And then doing it the right way as well this time, so you'll have total security in that. So I mean, I love that part of my work. I really do. I appreciate the shout out, but of course, the hard effort and consistency is all yours. If someone's listening in and or watching and thinking, oh man, yeah, I'm in that situation where I don't really recognize the kind of person that I am as compared to what I thought I'd be or what I was. That's normal. That it happens in life. Life tends to go in cycles. What really tends to really set successful people apart is how quickly you can recognize the patterns in your behavior and adjust them as quickly as possible. So what starts to happen is, I've always had coaching my entire life. And I just find it's really useful to be able to have someone who knows your goals, who knows what your potential is, to be able to call you out on certain things that you might not have the strength to do yourself, because we're all human beings. Everybody makes excuses at some point. Everybody doesn't even realize they're making excuses at some point. We all have ups and downs. And it's really useful for someone just to be able to say, you can do better, and you can. And so all of a sudden you kind of go, oh, well, let's look at this. Let's look at this. Is that in line with the goals? No, it isn't. So let's take these steps. And all of a sudden you just need that instruction and belief. And when you're in the environment of where people are trying to push you back into the mold that you were in, you feel like you're going backwards in life, especially if you're an ambitious person. It's very difficult. I can't take backward movement. I'm not very patient at all. So especially with myself, I'm super impatient. I'm a perfectionist for sure. So the second that something isn't perfect, if I'm not the best at it, I can feel myself wanting to beat myself up. So it's no wonder that started to happen as well, because you're weakened from being ill as well. It's not great when you've lost your health. So, but it's good you've come out the other side and you've come through that valley. So excited again about your business, building it in a more leveraged way. I saw some of your results as well recently. So what are a few of the results you've got in the last couple of weeks, getting into YouTube, using that in your channel? Obviously, you spoke about, we've made some changes like habit-wise and mindset-wise, but tactically on YouTube, what kind of results have you got so far in the last few weeks?
Sure. I mean, tactically speaking, it's what I've learned from you is just not to put all my eggs in one basket, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No more valleys of death. We can avoid the valley of death ever coming back.
Totally. And I mean, I was doing that for pretty much my whole network marketing career. Facebook ads, Facebook ads, Facebook ads. And
it's a too unreliable source, isn't it? It's just such an unreliable platform, and they hate network marketing. The second they even get a sniff, anything to do with it, it's so difficult to, I'm the same as you. Facebook ads are great. I like to use them mainly for retargeting. I think you can be a lot softer with your approach if you just pop a video up and say, hey, I noticed you saw my offer. Hey, you may want to check this out. You don't have to sort of be as specific about network marketing. Still a great platform, but in terms of like the front end feeding your business, I always believe in minimum of a rule of three with anything important in your life. 3 sources of leads, 3 ways you recruit, 3 ways that you can grow. There's a minimum 3 sources of income. Each single one of them is enough to cover your minimum monthly overheads you need to survive. If there's anything less than that in your business or in your life, I found that whenever I've had that in the past, I make silly decisions, because instead of thinking, okay, this is the right way for the long-term game, this is the right way for the strategy of where I'm trying to get to, you make short-term decisions. I need to make money now, or I'm panicking about that now, or I need to grab a lead now, or and you make these silly decisions. When you've got these 3 feeders, if you like, of everything important, if one goes down, you can kind of be more reflective. Let me see why that's happened. Let me improve it, because these other 2 are still taking care of me. I just feel your decision making is much better, more congruent with your goals.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. And I've definitely experienced that since I've started using specifically YouTube, actually. YouTube, and I'm backing everything up with LinkedIn now as well. On YouTube specifically, though, that's where I've really seen the big growth over the last month, really. I mean, I launched my YouTube channel about 4 months ago, and didn't really have a direct approach, if you will, a plan. I was putting out a video here, a video there. I'm thinking, oh, what titles can I write? Sort of struggling. What can I talk about? And I had my top video, I think, had 32 views 3 months ago, and then started working on the Tube Alchemy program with Richard, going through each video weekly, checking in for the accountability sessions. And the actual growth on my channel has been phenomenal. I think in the last 28 days, I was just looking at this before, it's 1,690 views, 1,700 views over the last 28 days, which equates to 120 hours of viewing time. And I think it's 55, 56 new subscribers. So that's a couple a day. And the majority of those are coming from my target niche, which is expats, people living abroad. So I'm bringing in a lot of expats into my YouTube channel. And most importantly, they're actually registering for my web class so they can get eyes on my offer.
And are you getting any sort of conversions? Are you getting actual like sales from in your business as well?
I've actually over the last 4 weeks, I've had 5 signups into my business. Some of those have come off YouTube. 2 of those have come off YouTube. 3 have come from other campaigns. However, the benefit, the side benefit of not just having leads come in directly from YouTube, it's that extra level of authority that having a YouTube channel creates. So now in my autoresponder sequence to my webinar, my leads are being, in one of the emails, sent towards a YouTube video where they can see an abundance of content, which basically backs up my, the pitch in my webinar, if you will. I'm talking about high ticket products, and over on my YouTube channel, there's a bunch of stuff about high ticket products. So if those people aren't completely sold after a 60-minute webinar, they're going to be able to see a whole bunch of top quality content over on my YouTube channel, which again, it builds authority, it helps conversions in the long run, and it's just a good extra channel to have, isn't it? And I mean, one of my videos now, the cost of living one, is now at ranks number 2. When you type it in, it's second as on that particular keyword search, and that
ranking strategy works really well. It does.
It's got 1,300 views, which if you'd have told me that 6 weeks ago before I'd started this, I had this sort of limiting belief in my head that you had to be a YouTuber to be able to do well. You had to have 50,000 followers, and you had to be sharp and polished and be able to do all these video tricks and know all these SEO things. But what Richard teaches in his program, you don't have to be any of those things. You have to be, well, first of all, you've got to be consistent, which is the same in any element of this business. But these small little tactics that Richard's giving us, choosing the right thumbnail, the right keywords, the right titles, doing your research before you actually just put the video out there. It makes a big, big difference. And you don't have to have 1 million followers to rank high in those, those niche keywords. If you're choosing the right ones, you'll get those views. And with the right video and the right call to action, you can convert those views into customers, clients, and new team members. So the YouTube side of things it's given a whole new lease of life to my business, a whole new element to my business.
Thanks for sharing all that. I'm really pleased at just the beginning. We've already got some significant results, and that will grow as you go through the process. You'll be able to rank for higher and higher and higher keywords. So it only gets, I don't like using the word easy, but it does get easier as you go along with YouTube. It's one of the few methods where it gets easier the longer you do it. With prospecting and things like that, it can get harder because you're like, oh, I'm running out of people, or running out of conversations. Whereas with YouTube, it's sort of, as long as you know, when you know what YouTube is looking for, which I do, having done it for nearly a decade now, you just basically feed it with what it wants. Their algorithm is looking for certain things, and when you adhere to those rules that it's looking for, it says, okay, yeah, we want your video up there for our viewers to see. And YouTube's the only place. Podcast does this quite well too, but really in terms of like the very best, the only place where a company as large as Google will send traffic to your resources without you having to build a following, that's YouTube. Facebook group, you've got to get group members in there first to see your content. Your Facebook profile, they've got to accept you as a friend request, right? A follower on Instagram, a connection on LinkedIn. There's no other place where, without having to need subscribers, you can get a lot of views from your exact target market, which is what attracted me to it. The leverage of not having to be there, but also I was like, well, if I'm going to put videos or content out there, I don't want it to get lost in the newsfeed in 24 hours time. I don't want to have to go and search for it and dig around. I want people to be able to just see it and use it. And like you mentioned, it's a great prospecting tool. You put it into your follow-up sequence. I used to, when I first started making videos, I did the same thing. I answered basically sort of the 4 or 5 most common questions I kept getting from prospects, and then I'd send them the YouTube video. So I could show them, oh, there's like 400 or 500 views on this video. They can see my channel. How do I know I've got enough time to build this? So I'd answer in the video. You're probably wondering, how am I going to build this business in a small amount of time? Let me give you 3 ways you can do that. And I'd send them the video. So now, like you said, at the very least, I can retarget that person, because YouTube, when you set it up correctly, it will keep on building the audience for you to advertise to of people who viewed your videos. So you can keep on touching with that prospect virtually and get much better conversions down the line as it compounds. So cool. Before we go, where can people sort of reach out to you? Where's the best place to, obviously you've listened to Mike's story. You could probably get some great advice from Mike, connect with him. I know he's doing great things in his team. He looks after his people. So where's the best place they can connect with you, Mike?
Sure. If you'd like to connect with me, it'd be great to hear from you. You can find me on Instagram at Mike Davison Online. I'm sure Richard will put a link in the description. Or if you want to check out my YouTube content, it's Mike J. Davison. I'm the first one who pops up. So yeah, you can check out my YouTube content there, guys.
Excellent. Yeah. So yeah, I will definitely do that. Yeah, I'll put in the description. I'll put those links. I'll put your Instagram and I'll put your YouTube. So yeah, just connect with Mike if you have any more questions, or if you want to see what he's up to. I know he's going to be happy to help. And thank you for your time. I really enjoyed the story, really enjoyed some of the information, the tactics, and the discussing the changes that you'd made to get those results come out of that valley of death. And of course, I'm looking forward to continue working with you. We've got a lot of progress to make, a lot of goals to chase down. So that's like really exciting too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Richard, and looking forward to continue working with you in the future, mate.
Cool. Thanks ever so much. Bye for now.
Cheers, guys.